guys, it's Jalea and welcome to my channel. My first ever video on this channel actually, so you know the drill. Go ahead and subscribe right now because I think you guys are really going to enjoy the project, the DIY creation that we're putting together today. So this channel in general is dedicated to thrifty, DIY, design, decor, all those types of things, and we'll just kind of see how this evolves as it goes. But primarily those are the things that I'm really into. A lot of these projects I do in my spare time anyway, so I'm excited to be able to share some of these things for those of you that may be just trying to get into the whole DIY thrift thing, or for those of you that are just looking for some new projects. So this project that we're doing today, I guess you would call it beginner upholstery. It's super easy. I consider myself a beginner. Anybody can do this, but our focus is going to be on this here couch. I thrifted this couch. I know, usually I'm weird about thrifting certain furniture. A lot of my house, most of my house, the furniture in here is thrifted, but I just never thought that I would buy a couch secondhand this way. But I got this at a Goodwill, less than $40. People usually don't believe me when I say that, but it was $39.99 and it was National Thrift Day. So it was 10% off of that. And I loved it. Basically brand new, you guys, because that was the only way that I was gonna buy a couch at a thrift store, because I mean, y'all know everybody does a little bit of everything on the couch, and just something with fabric and that kind of thing, upholstery in general. I don't know, I'm just weird about it holding smells or holding on to whatever was on that couch. But anywho, like I said, this couch was basically brand new, so shout out to whoever donated it. So getting to today's project, y'all, I wanted to find a matching ottoman to this couch because I love it so much, but I wanted, you know, to have the space to be able to kick up and that kind of thing. So since I got the couch for such a steal, I was willing to look and pay full price for one. And that's rare. I don't like to pay full price for things, but I wanted it to match the couch, of course. Looked it up. The matching ottoman was a little bit over $300. And then the color of the couch that I wanted is actually discontinued. So that may play into why this couch was dropped off in the condition that it was at Goodwill. I don't know. I'm not questioning it. So I decided that when I did want to find an ottoman, of course, I was going to have to make one, but it went months before I actually even decided to go ahead and make one. I was in another Goodwill in Montgomery, and I saw an ottoman that said, "Psst, come here." And I said, yes. And that's the ottoman that I bought. So I'll show you guys what it looked like before and after. I filmed this whole process from beginning to end, or tried to film as much of it as possible. But I'm gonna be honest, you guys, I did do this months ago. So you will notice some of the decor in my living room. Things are gonna look a little bit different, maybe the pillows on the couch and that kind of thing, from today to when I actually did this project. But so let me clarify, folks. Here is the ottoman that I recovered. This is a rehab, a redo, a rehaul, a refurbish. I did not make the ottoman myself. Again, I bought an ottoman at a Goodwill and then recovered it in order to match the couch. So now let's get started. So here's our starting point, our before picture for this ottoman. You can see it's this bright lime green color. I love that it's made out of this vinyl-like material, which is great because it's easy to clean, because I like to sanitize things, of course, before I start on a project like this. But you can see it did have some peeling in the four corners. Here's a closer look of some of the peeling that it had before. But one of the things that really sold me on this is because it had the storage element to it. The top comes off, which is great, not only because you can hide things in here, but it's so much easier to cover when you have it in two pieces already. So now we're off to the fabric store to see what we can find. All right, headed to the fabric section. Already see some cute things that I think could match. I brought the cushion in with me. Really like this a lot. Not an exact match, which actually is okay with me because it's $49.99, even at 50% off, way more than I really want to pay for the small amount of fabric that I need. But I don't know why I'm playing myself anyway, because I like to start in clearance. So here we go. Next aisle over. They're already talking my language with the prices again. Looking for something that's like, they have like all different kinds of fabric down here, but I'm looking for something a little bit thicker since I'm doing like kind of upholstery. And actually, I think I see it, y'all. something like this. So like it's got a couple different hues in it, so it'll pick up. It is a little pattern, but it's not like a loud pattern, so it'll still match. And already love this price. So now I'm on the way to get it cut. Back at home now, I'm just wiping this down with some soapy water with a little bit of bleach in it and letting it dry before we move forward. So besides your fabric, this is pretty much the only other thing that you're going to be using is the scissors, your staple gun, and of course the staples that are going into the staple gun. For this project, I only used about 2 rows of this 1/2 inch staple size. So yeah, if you're only planning on doing just one project or so, you don't need a big pack like this, but it's good to invest if you feel like you're gonna be doing some stuff down the road. So now the real fun starts. We're laying out our fabric that we just bought. After I got the exact amount that I would need for the top, asked him to just go ahead and give me the rest of it for 2 reasons. Because 1, I did not bring the Ottoman in to know how much I would actually need. But the biggest reason is because I was buying this clearance. It was marked down. It ended up being half of that $9 price. And so I didn't want to come back and need more fabric and then they'd not have enough. And I actually ended up having just the perfect amount. Thank goodness for that, because I'm terrible at measuring things out. Now you grab the staple gun and start to attach the fabric. It's super simple to use. The only thing you need to focus on for the first side is just trying to keep it centered and making sure that it's straight. The fabric is somewhat straight. On the second side, when you flip it over, you want to make sure that you're pulling the fabric nice and tight so that it's snug on top and that you don't have any buckles. The trickiest part of the top is the corners. So I just do this in very small pieces. Grab a piece, tuck it, fold it like you would a present, then staple. You can use as many staples as you need to keep this down, but you want to make sure that you're folding this as flat as possible, because when you go to close your Ottoman, you don't want it to be too bulky. So fold it flat, and again, make sure you're pulling tight on the corners to keep the fabric from buckling in the middle when you flip the Ottoman top back over. Almost done with the top, just going back in with my scissors and cutting off the excess fabric around the edges. I don't care for this to look perfect because no one is going to be looking on the inside. I just try to keep it as straight as possible. So we are done with the top. Here's how it turned out. I think it looks good, but I'll let you guys be the judge. I hope you guys can see what I mean by why it's so important to tuck the edges so tightly. And here's how the top looks, nice and flat with no wrinkles or bubbles or buckles. So we're gonna set the top to the side for right now, and we're gonna move along to the big part of the Ottoman, the bottom. So you wanna flip this bad boy over and take off the legs. Make sure you keep up with all the pieces because you will need them later. So it took me a little while to figure out how I was gonna make this work, but I decided to do a similar approach that we use with the top and just do opposites first. I decided to use the 4 corners approach, so I started off with a staple in each corner before moving on to the opposite side. But I realized for this part that has this small handle space, I would have to do things a little bit differently. So I did end up putting one on the corners, but then in the middle too, and pulling that part extra tight so that that part wasn't bulky. And then I realized I should do the same for the other side, so I went back, used my screwdriver to take out the staple that I had put in before, and then redo it the same way that I did the opposite side. This is the most difficult part of wrapping, the bottom portion of the Ottoman. But again, if you're good at wrapping gifts, this will be easy for you because we're working with an Ottoman that's a square, so it's not an awkward shape. So I'm gonna let the video do the explaining for you and just give you some tips along the way. So you notice as I'm folding the fabric, there seems to be an inside layer and then an outside layer. Use as many staples as you feel you need to make that inside layer stay flat, but don't use any staples on the outside layer because of course that's the part that's going to be showing and you don't want your staples exposed. You'll also notice that second layer is going to make a lot of excess fabric, especially in the middle. We don't want that to make any wrinkles, so we're going to get rid of that in just a bit. So I've already finished and stapled down one side, but I wanted to show you what I meant by cutting off that excess fabric. So that's what we're doing here. After that extra inside layer of fabric is cut down, then you want to go pulling your fabric extra tight like we've been doing the whole time, and then stapling it down the top. I am just about done here. I'm on cleanup duty right now, so I'm going in with my staple gun and making sure getting all the places that I may have missed that may need an extra staple or two, and then going back with my scissors just like we did the top and cutting off the extra fabric around the rim just to make it nice and neat. So here's a quick look so far. I'm giving you guys a look at the inside and then also the side corners before we move on to put the legs back on the ottoman. Now, I did not include a drill in the original set of tools that you'll need, but we have covered up the original holes that these screws would go back in. So rather than try to find those through the fabric, I just drilled new ones. So now that all 4 legs are back on our ottoman, here's the big reveal of our final product. I am in love with the way this turned out. I think it matches the couch beautifully. It's stylish, it's functional, but I would love to hear what you guys think. So, of course, leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think. That's right after you subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up.